In 2004, we could focus on a single screen for about 2.5 minutes. Today, that number has plummeted to just 47 seconds. The term brain rot was chosen as Oxford's Word of the Year in 2024, reflecting the growing concern over how our digital habits are reshaping our minds. But this isn't just about statistics or catchy phrases. It's about us, our daily lives, our relationships, our ability to think deeply and connect meaningfully. Have you ever found yourself scrolling endlessly only to realize that hours have passed and you feel more drained than before? This phenomenon isn't just a personal quirk. It's a reflection of a broader societal shift. Studies have shown that excessive consumption of trivial online content can lead to decreased gray matter in the brain, affecting memory, attention, and decision-making. In this video, we'll explore what brain rot truly means, how it manifests in our daily routines, and most importantly, how we can reclaim our focus and mental well-being. Let's embark on this journey together. So, what exactly is brain rot? It's not a disease. It gives a name to something a lot of us have quietly felt, a kind of mental erosion. That constant fog in the mind, the shrinking attention span, the restlessness we can't seem to shake. Brain rot is what happens when our brains, once capable of stillness, depth, and sustained focus, become conditioned to seek speed, novelty, and shallow stimulation. And in the hyper-digital world we live in now, that shift doesn't take long. Today, nearly everything we consume has been shortened. Headlines are written for clicks, stories are compressed into seconds, entertainment is sliced into bite-sized loops of dopamine. Platforms reward immediacy. Algorithms learn what keeps us hooked and deliver more of it, faster than we can even process what we've just seen. With every swipe or tap, our brain receives a little jolt, a hit of dopamine, just enough to feel good, but not enough to feel full. And so we go again. Not because we're enjoying it, but because our minds have been trained to expect the next hit, the next distraction, the next tiny pleasure. Eventually, the brain adjusts. But what we gain in an instant stimulation, we lose in mental endurance. Over time, our capacity for quiet, for reflection, for staying with one idea, it erodes. We struggle to finish books. We can't watch a film without checking our phone. Even silence becomes difficult, boring, almost unbearable. This is because the entire structure of digital life is built to fragment our focus and keep us in motion. The systems we use daily, video apps, social feeds, and even how we read the news, are not neutral tools. They're environments and they're shaping how we think, whether we notice it or not. That's why brain rot isn't just a meme or a buzzword. It's a signal that something gradual is happening to our inner world. The question is no longer whether brain rot is real. It's whether we recognize it in time to take back some control before it becomes our new normal. And that brings us to the next question. How do we know when it's already here? Signs of brain rot. There are signs, and they're surprisingly familiar. We begin to lose track of time. We open our phone for one thing, but get pulled into an hour-long loop of content we don't even remember watching. We bounce between apps, not because we're curious, but because stillness feels strange. We struggle to focus, not just at work, but even in conversation. The brain, once used to staying with a single task, now flinches at anything that requires patience. Reading becomes a chore. Writing feels impossible. Even watching a full video without skipping ahead feels like a challenge. There's also a subtle kind of fatigue. Not the tiredness that sleep can fix, but a mental dullness. That feeling of being slightly disconnected from what we're doing, even when it matters. Like our thoughts are drifting through fog. And then there's the loss of joy in things we once loved. Hobbies that used to energize us now feel like effort. We default to scrolling instead. Not because it excites us, but because it asks the least of us. It's the result of a brain that's been constantly trained to expect quick stimulation, and now struggles to find meaning in anything that doesn't arrive fast and loud. And here's a truth that's hard to admit. This isn't just about individual habits. It's a pattern, a collective one. It's what happens when millions of us live in an environment that's designed to erode our attention and call it normal. But once we recognize these signs, we can begin to do something about it. So how do we reverse this? How do we reteach the brain to find satisfaction in depth, not just distraction? Let's explore that next. Training the brain again. Number 1, rebalancing dopamine. Let's start here, because I think this is where it all begins. Our brains are not addicted to phones. They're just used to getting rewards quickly, with minimal effort. And the internet has made those rewards so easy to access that anything else starts to feel slow, maybe even pointless. But here's the thing, we don't need to quit dopamine. We just need to find better ways to get it. Instead of trying to quit all, we can start with smaller shifts, ones that don't feel like punishment. For example, if you enjoy short videos, keep watching them. But maybe next time, try not to open the comments. Then maybe one day you'll feel ready to switch to longer videos. Or a podcast, just audio, no visuals. And when that becomes easier, maybe you'll feel like picking up a book again. Not because you should, but because your mind starts to remember how calming it can be to stay with one thing for more than 60 seconds. None of this needs to happen overnight. We can break the loop by walking out of it slowly, not forcing ourselves to sprint. The goal isn't to live without dopamine. It's to build a version of it that sustains us, not drains us. And once we do that, we can begin to rebuild something even more precious, our ability to focus. Number 2, rebuilding focus. You might have noticed it too. Maybe when replying to an email, you suddenly feel the urge to check something else real quick. Maybe you're listening to a meeting, but also scrolling through another app at the same time. It doesn't always feel like a distraction. It feels like multitasking. But what we often don't see is the cost. The mental exhaustion, the scattered focus, the way nothing feels truly done. I realized this when I caught myself switching tabs while waiting just 10 seconds for a file to load. 10 seconds, and I couldn't just sit still. What helped me wasn't a drastic change, it was something simple. Monotasking. Set a timer, even 20 or 25 minutes. Choose one task and stay with it. Silence notifications, close extra tabs. When your mind drifts, and it will, bring it back gently. Every time you do, you're strengthening something. Not just your productivity, but your sense of mental clarity. Take me, for example. I started setting small time blocks, just 25 minutes, using a kitchen timer. During that time, I turned off notifications and kept the background silent. It was surprisingly hard at first, but also surprisingly calming. Number 3, deep thinking. One of the most overlooked effects of brain rot is that it flattens how we think. But the brain, like any part of us, thrives on challenge. It grows not through speed, but through struggle, gentle, meaningful effort. I started noticing this in my own work. Tasks that used to feel creative started to feel mechanical. I was solving problems, sure, but only on the surface. So I tried something different. Before giving an answer, I began asking one more question. Before settling on one solution, I tried brainstorming a few others, even if no one asked for them. It wasn't about doing better. It was about thinking better. And that mindset can be applied to any job. Whether you're in design, finance, logistics, or teaching, there's always a way to go one level deeper, to reflect more, to explore alternatives, to activate that part of your brain that's used to wrestling with ideas, not just reacting to them. Another way is through learning, not to chase certificates or trends, but to actually use the brain again. I picked a tool I already use daily, Excel, and started learning its advanced functions. It wasn't glamorous, but it was stimulating. Maybe for you, it's learning a new language, or trying to write a blog post, or figuring out how a new system works at your job. It doesn't have to be public. It just has to feel slightly challenging, enough to stretch you without overwhelming you. And when deeper thinking feels too far away, there's one practice that never fails. Reading. Start small, 10 pages a day. It can be fiction or nonfiction, a short story, or a memoir. The point is not the content, it's the pacing. Books ask something that modern media rarely does. Patience. And in return, they give back something rare. Focus, reflection, and emotional texture. Rebuilding depth isn't about becoming someone else. It's about reconnecting with a version of ourselves we may have forgotten. The one that could sit with complexity, that didn't need everything to be immediate, that once found joy in thinking deeply. Maybe brain rot isn't just a meme. Maybe it's a signal that our minds are tired and craving something real again. If you'd like more content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us for the next conversation. Thanks for being here. Truly.